Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to explore Ansible yet again. I love working with Ansible, and anytime I get to create a new video on Ansible, that's a good day. In the previous video, I taught you guys how to install Ansible, and in this video, we're going to take all of the information that I gave you in the previous video, and we're going to go to a new level, and we're going to extend the playbook that we created in the previous video, and we're going to make it do some more fun and exciting things. So let's dive back into Ansible. All right, so in the previous video, I showed you guys how to set up Ansible, and then we created our first playbook that was able to install a package specific to the type of server that we're setting up. In fact, this is the playbook right here that we used in the previous video. So for our Nginx hosts, we have a group called Nginx. On those, we want to install the Nginx package. And then on our WordPress hosts, we want to install the WordPress package. So this was a very simple playbook, but it shows you guys how a playbook is actually structured. And in this video, what we're going to do is build on that even further. But before we get into that, let's have a quick recap on what we've done last time that'll set the stage for the remainder of this video. Now, one of the things that we have done in the previous video was create an inventory file, and we created it at /etc/ansible/hosts. Actually, that file already existed. It was created automatically. We got a sample host file when we first installed Ansible. So what we did is we made a backup file of that host file, and then we created a fresh new host file. This one right here. So as a quick recap, we have two groups. We have an Nginx group and a WordPress group in square brackets. And then underneath each, we have an IP address for the instance that's going to belong to that group. And you could have 10 IP addresses down here if you wanted to make more than one Linode server a member of a group. You can organize this any way that you want. In fact, you can even add both servers to both groups. Ansible is completely flexible. But essentially what we have done in this file is we created these two groups, and then we have identified which group each server should be a member of. And then we created this playbook right here. And just like I explained in the previous video, YAML files, they begin with 3 dashes, as you see here. YAML is the official format for Ansible Playbooks. And then here we are targeting Nginx hosts, basically servers that are a member of the Nginx group. And on those servers, we want to run some tasks. And we only had one task. It had a name of install Nginx. It's going to use the package module to install a package with the name of Nginx. And anytime it runs, it's going to ensure that the latest version of that package is installed. And then we're essentially repeating the same thing here for the second section where we are targeting WordPress hosts. And we are also going to install a package on those hosts as well. Well, we only have one. And we're going to install the WordPress package on that node. So far, so good. Now we can go ahead and build our knowledge even further. So what I'm going to do is actually add a brand new section here to the top of this playbook. So I'll just press enter a few times here. And then again, I will type hosts. But this time, I'm going to type all. And this is going to allow me to run a specific play against all servers, regardless of which group they're a member of. Sometimes you will have some things that all servers have in common, and this is a great way to do that. You could basically set up some plays that are going to execute on everything, again, regardless of their group. So that's why here I'm going to target all hosts. And we want to make sure that everything is lined up just so. That's very important for a YAML file. And here what we're going to do is set remote_user. We're going to set that to root. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the other sections here as well. And you can actually consolidate this quite a bit, but it's beyond our scope at the moment. So what I've done is I've added remote user to all 3 sections. But we're not even done with this section right here. So we'll go ahead and continue building this section. And we'll add another section called vars. And inside there, I'm going to create a new variable, normal underscore user underscore name, colon. And then in single quotes right here, we're going to type the desired username that we want to have created on our target servers. Now, on my end, I've already created a local user for myself named Jay. So what I'm going to do is just create another user. And in my case, I'm going to call my user jdoe, just going to keep it simple, but you can use whatever username you'd like for this particular variable. And that's all we're doing right now is we are setting a variable. We haven't actually created any plays yet that are going to create this user, but what we've done here is we have set up a variable to contain the username that we want to create. Next, we'll type tasks and pay special close attention to how I have everything lined up. You do need to have everything lined up perfectly or you will have problems. So underneath tasks, I'm going to press space 4 times. And I'm going to type name right here to set a name, basically a title for the play. And this is how it's going to appear in the log when we actually run this. And I just included the verbiage, create a secondary non-root user. And we're going to use the user module. And we do have a variable for the user. We just created it several lines above. So in double brackets here, we're going to type the name of the variable that we have created earlier. Just like that. And then we're going to create the password for that particular user. So in single quotes, we need to type the hash for the password that we want to create. However, we don't actually have a hash just yet. We didn't actually build it yet. So what I'm going to do is hold Control and press Z to effectively minimize the script that I'm working on. And let's go ahead and create a hash for the password that we want to use for that user. So to generate a hash for the password that we want the new user to have, we can use the mkpasswd command as you see here. Now we do want this to be a strong hash, so we don't want to accept the default. If I was to press enter right here and then type the password I want the new user to have, you can see that this hash right here isn't very long, so that's not very secure. So what we can do instead is run mkpasswd and then -- method and set that equal to sha-512. So I'll type in the password that I want the new user to have. I'll press enter. And as you can see, that is quite a bit longer than the hash we received when we didn't use the method option as I did in this example. So now we have the password hash. So what I'm going to do is copy the entire thing. And then let's bring back the text editor with foreground in my case. And what I'll do is paste it right here. And there we go. I pasted the password hash right here into the playbook. And it's so long, it wraps right here, as you can see. The password hash is longer than my terminal is wide, but that's okay. And let's go ahead and set the shell for the user. And we'll set that equal to /bin/bash. Now let's go ahead and run this as it is right now. We will be making some additional changes to it, but we want to make sure that all of the changes that we have made so far didn't break anything. So I'll save it, Control O and then enter, and then Control X to exit out. And I will recall the command that we used in the last video to actually run that playbook against our servers. And there it is. There is the command that we used in the previous video. But what I'm going to do is remove the -u root that we have right here, because in the new version of our playbook, we actually declared the remote user, so we no longer need to use the -u option and set it equal to root, because that's in the playbook. So now we can omit that. So I'll press enter. Let's see if it works. And I do have a little error right here, but you know, that does happen. So let's edit the file and fix my mistake, which is right here. We actually need double quotes around this variable right here in order for this to work. So I'll save it. Let's give it another shot. And as you can see, we have some changes. We have JDo right there. We have a home directory for that user. We also have that user listed there in the Etsy password directory. Same thing there. So we can see clearly that Ansible did create that user on those servers. So let's go ahead and bring that file back up onto our screen and add some additional customization. So now what we're going to do is add another task. So what I'll do is press enter right there. I'll add another blank line. Make sure that's lined up. And we'll set a name. So what exactly are we up to this time? Well, what I want to do is actually add the SSH key on our controller, and I want to add that to the servers that we're configuring. And this is actually going to simplify the setup even further. So I will name it add authorized key. And Ansible actually has a dedicated module for the purposes of adding an authorized key to a node. And there it is, it's simply authorized key. And the first thing that we'll set with this module is what the username is that we want to work with. And again, we'll set it equal to the same variable as before. So effectively, we're doing the same thing here that we did right here in using the variable. So that way we only need to type the user just one time. And then it's going to be filled in each time we call that variable. And we're calling the variable twice already, so that's saving us a bit of typing. And then we'll set the key. And then in double quotes, and also double brackets, we're going to set that equal to lookup, and then file in single quotes, and there's the path to our public key. So that's going to grab the public key right from the file system of the controller, and it's going to add it to the other two servers as an authorized key. And that is the same key that we are using with the root account, but it's not really a great idea to keep using the root account. So essentially what we're doing is we are creating a JDo user. You could change that user account to whatever you'd like. And then we are adding the SSH key for Ansible from the controller directly to those servers. So the user JDo will be able to use that key as well. And here in this section that I'm creating, we're grabbing that key and we're grabbing it right from the file system. We're going to copy it over. However, if the user JDo was to try to make any system level changes, it's going to fail because either you need to be logged in as root to make changes or you need sudo access. And JDo isn't root, and we also haven't configured sudo access as well, so we need to go ahead and take care of that right now. And to do that, we will set up yet another task. And what I'm going to do is paste the new section right here. And there it is. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm adding a new administrator to the other two servers named jdo, and I'm also copying a key over for that user as well. And yes, this is the key that we have been using for the purposes of Ansible, but you could create a different key for the user. And generally speaking, in a real organization on real servers, a new employee will give you his or her public key, and then you will add that to Ansible. But I'm just reusing this key right here just to keep it simple. And down here, we are actually going to edit the etc sudoers file. And inside that file, we are going to create a section for the new user. You can see that I'm referring to the normal username variable twice right here. It's going to look for a regular expression, and here we have the username. And it's going to replace it with this line right here, with this variable being replaced with the actual username for that user. So let's save the file. Hopefully I didn't make any typos here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and run it. And here's the command. Let's see what happens. And of course, I do have an error. Murphy's Law, right? And you could probably already see what I have done wrong. And the error is right here. I was missing one of the parentheses, as you can see. Let's try it again. Hopefully we'll have better luck this time. And so far, so good. So now what we can do is go over to one of the servers, and then we could switch over to that user and see whether or not that user is able to use sudo. So I'll run su-jdo. Next, I'll type in the password that I set up in the hash, so this will prove that the hash is correct. And that worked. Next, what I should be able to do is run a command with sudo. So I will run sudo apt update. I'll type in the password yet again. And it's working. So using Ansible, I have created a standard user on my Linode instances. I set a password for that user. I added an authorized key file for that user. And I also enabled that user to use sudo as well. So now I have effectively added a new administrator to my servers. And maybe on your end, you use this to create a user for yourself or a secondary user, but either way, when you run the playbook, it should set up the user on those systems as you've described and be good to go. So I hope this video was as fun for you as it was for me. We took our Ansible configuration even further and made it do more things. And from here, you can go ahead and extend it even further. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I highly recommend that if you find this interesting, that you dive even further into the subject. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.